I'm John from We Are Change, Utah. We're looking at our lab results from the water sampling we took back in mid-March. And we had 3 samples we took in. The first sample was collected on the 12th of March on a storm that came in on the day after some heavy spraying we noticed in the valley. The second sample was on the 16th, and that was also following quite a bit of spraying. And then we went up one of our canyons here the day after on the 17th and took a sample from the snow. But looking at the results, we have aluminum on the first sample on the 12th. We identified 0.28 milligrams per liter of aluminum in that water we collected. And 0.2 is the threshold for the maximum contaminant level that the EPA cites for drinking water. Again, so we found 0.28, about 80 micrograms higher than that limit. The rain on the 16th, we found 6.1 milligrams per liter of aluminum in that water. That's 30-fold the allowed maximum contaminant level in drinking water, according to the EPA. And then the snow we collected in Lambs Canyon, which is about roughly 15 miles east of the Salt Lake Valley here, and a quarter mile off the I-80 freeway. We pulled some fresh snow right off the top, and that snow showed 3.32 milligrams per liter of aluminum in that snow sample. That's 20 times what would be allowed in drinking water. These numbers that we looked at here were startling to us. They really confirmed for us that we have a serious contamination of aluminum in our water. And in these samples, we noticed the very little sediment. So most of that aluminum content is dissolved or suspended in liquid, which makes it even more dangerous. And so we're going to continue looking at water samples throughout the northern Utah area over the next several months, and we'll post those as we get them.
Well, an Israeli Knesset member has been heckled by a group of students at Brandeis University near Boston. Students accuse Kadima Party's member Avi Disher of torture and crimes against humanity.
One for torture! One for
Disher, who also served as head of Shabak or Shen Bet, was interrupted while he was about to speak to an audience. He and 5 other Israeli lawmakers are on a week-long visit to the United States under a Jewish fellowship program. Disher was sued in a U.S. court in 2002 for killing 15 Palestinians in Israeli airstrikes. Israeli officials traveling abroad continue to face difficulties after Tel Aviv's occupation of Palestinian territory and a deadly war on Gaza at the turn of 2009. Last year, Israeli Premier Benjamin Netanyahu was also repeatedly interrupted after being heckled by the audience during a speech in New Orleans, Louisiana.
A group of sumo wrestlers cooked lunch for Japan's evacuees at a refugee center in Tokyo. More than 160,000 people are staying in shelters around the country after the earthquake and tsunami hit Japan last month.
On Wednesday, sumo wrestlers offered a helping hand to those affected by Japan's earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear crisis. They cooked up a traditional sumo meal for a refugee center in Tokyo. Chanko nabi, a mixture of broth, vegetables, and things like chicken and fish, is a common dish for sumo wrestlers to put on weight.
I have a strong urge to go up to the disaster-stricken area and help out there. There has been a lot going on amongst us wrestlers, but we need to come together as one and lead the way in being a leading figure in supporting the victims.
The Mongolian wrestler visited the center with a host of the country's leading sumo stars, including Bulgarian wrestler Kotushu. The visit was a welcome change for some in the refugee camp. Kiyoshi Fukuyama was evacuated from Japan's northeastern Fukushima prefecture after last month's earthquake and tsunami.
I am touched. It's really comforting to have these kinds of events, because all we can do is lie around on the hard floor with no TV, just reading newspapers.
Hitomi Miura lived with her parents in Iwaki, just outside the nuclear evacuation zone, and decided to leave the area voluntarily.
Everyone had smiles on their faces despite their situation, and it is great to see this right in front of my eyes.
The visit comes as Japan's sumo community is facing a slew of scandals. The Japan Sumo Association recommended the retirement or expulsion of 23 wrestlers and senior sumo figures involved in fixing bouts. It has also canceled Japan's spring sumo tournament.
Hello everybody, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Wednesday, I almost said Thursday, Wednesday, April 6, 2011, and I'm Darko. This is the final part 4 everyone. My website's www.ggnonline.com. That is ggnonline.com. Alright, so I came across this article along with another one. Climate technical fix may yield warming, not cooling. Now, this is cool because I had just made my own little theory here public in the last couple of videos about how I believe that just based off my, simple observation, right? Was I taking notes? No, so it can't be considered a scientific observation, but I think if you're paying attention to it, for what, 3 years now, 365 days a year, I mean, that's a good enough time to where you can start to get an idea what the hell is going on around you, right? You don't have to be a freaking scientist. And based off my limited observations as a slave, I noticed that every time they spray, it's warmer out. And then I said, they're calling for spraying the atmosphere in order to cool it because of global warming, but they are causing the warming. So CO2 and man-made global warming, anthropogenic global warming, is actually a false theory. It's not valid to begin with. But then they're spraying to make it warmer. So the whole thing is a bunch of BS. And it says here, whitening clouds by spraying them with seawater proposed as a technical fix for climate change could do more harm than good. And of course they say seawater. They're saying seawater is in salt. No, it's aluminum. You just saw in that video that We Are Change in Utah taking water samples, and it has very high amounts of aluminum that could harm you, among many other things like barium oxide, and then you have possibly black carbon, because that was in the white papers that was introduced to the Air Force, talking about spraying the skies to create basically rain, snow, fog. For what? For defense applications. See, they're experimenting on you. They're experimenting on you, and then they're saying that they're looking to do it. They're not even admitting that they're already doing it. They're saying they're looking to do it. And then people like me or any of you that have half a brain and have their eyes open say, hey, they're already doing it. And they say, no, they're not. They're not doing it. Just be quiet, you're conspiracy theorists. Tweaking the climate to save it, who decides? Well, let's see. Based off the fact that we don't live in a democracy republic, we live in a scientific dictatorship that experiments on its slaves, on its global citizens, we don't have a say. So that's why they've already done it. You see? We have no free will. And that's why I said we're living in a weird place right now where free will is gone. You have no free will. Yes, you may think you do, but when they're spraying you and you have no say in it, and you can't decide, that means you have no more free will. I know that sounds pretty stupid and very plain and simple, but that's the only way I can put it. It says, to quiet the green solitude of English country estate, they retreated to think of the unthinkable. Scientists of earth, sea, and sky scholars, law, politics, philosophy, and 3 intensive days cloistered said basically they want to save the planet. The unknown risk of geoengineering in this case, tweaking the Earth's climate by dimming the skies, left many uneasy. Quote, if we could experiment with the atmosphere and literally play God, it's very tempting to a scientist, said Kenyan Earth scientist, but I worry. Of course you should worry, because they're already doing it. CACI, defense contractor, awarded $18.5 million contract to process Scottish Census, and CACI was, of course, what? Torturing over in Iraq. And it says here, along with Titan Security and Blackwater, Lockheed Martin awarded $150 million contract to support 2011 census for England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So you like that, guys. It says here, atomic weights of 10 chemical elements about to change, and who is at the forefront of it? Ooh, UNESCO. So, moving on here, Martelly wins Haiti poll results. Preliminary results from Haiti's presidential election suggest Michael Martelly has secured a landslide victory in Haiti. Find out about Martelly, right? Because that was all about what? Articide, John Burchard Articide. I thought that he should have went in there and he should have been representing the Haitian people, but he got exiled, right? And he was told not to come back during the election even, but he did. Martelly's relationship with members of Haiti's past government and the U.S. diplomats has been met with mixed opinions and criticism by music fans and activists alike. He is reportedly a friend of President Rene Preval and previously acknowledged such friendships, as well as the one with Lieutenant Colonel Francois, the former Port-au-Prince police chief, who was later convicted of human rights abuses in absentia. I think I pronounced that right. Prior to the coup that overthrew Articide, Martelly operated a nightclub called The Garage, often frequented by Haitian military and other members of the ruling class. And of course, after the second coup overthrew Articide, Martelly played a free concert to oppose the return of the ousted president and the American president and any American presence on the troubled island. So there you go. So there's your new puppet there, Haiti people. Says here, no fries for you. Health department workers balk at new rules. City's health department is going on a diet. And it says here, those are all parts of the new health mandate issued to the department employees and a little bright colored brochure ahead of the move from Manhattan to Queens, according to a published report. Next up, we have scientists find new Alzheimer risk genes. And this is the thing. It says here, scientists are looking for genetic triggers. You get Alzheimer's, I think, from what? Yes, maybe genetics, but mostly what? It's environmental. It's in the air. It's the aluminum they're spraying with, right? And the fluoride that you're drinking makes your brain absorb aluminum a lot easier. So when they're spraying, the aluminum is going straight to your brain, causing Alzheimer's. That's my theory. Maybe it's not true. New antidepressant warning, but I wanted to stress there, they keep saying it's genetic. Why? Because they have to make you think that you are inferior, right? You're inferior and that you have all these defects. No, the human body is amazing, and it's environmental conditions that are causing these things, like cancer and that. New antidepressant warning, Prozac and other drugs cause thick arteries and raise heart attack risk. It says here, manipulating morals, scientists target drugs that improve behavior. So with Brave New World, Cuba registering first lung cancer vaccine in South America. Then we have GPs must return flu vaccine over narcolepsy fears. CDC releases report about scientists working with plague virus who died within hours. And they're talking about the bubonic plague. Then we have surge in kids CT scan raises concerns. Why? Because multiple CT scans increase cancer risk. Okay. CDC, salmonella and turkey burgers resistant to antibiotics because of all the stuff in the food. Locals in northern India hospitalized due to food poisoning from buckwheat. Researchers find sperm counts on the decline. That means eugenics is a success right now. Disease kills student who hated the sun. He hated the sun and he got skin cancer because it has nothing to do with it. Why? Sunscreen causes rickets. New wave of cases in England. You need suns for vitamin D. Body donation for scientific research grows in China. Next it will be babies. Breast milk tested for cancer link, and this is why? To justify what? Scientists genetically modify cows to produce human milk. Tiger mom wins. Daughter gets into both Harvard and Yale. And, you know, I've heard a story from Stefan Molyneux about these tiger moms and a daughter pushing them. And what happens? They commit suicide, right? Because it's not even the life they want. Stop having children instead of bleeding about conservation, says wildlife expert. Test children genes before they have sex. God, this is eugenics, isn't it? Patients dying in Queensland hospital emergency departments waiting for treatment. In North Carolina, SB 31 bill seeks to turn healers into felons. Talking about homeopathic. New EU welcomes untested GMOs goes into food chain despite widespread rejection by farmers. Organic farmers sue, seek protection from Monsanto. Then we have Japan establishes radiation safety standards for seafood, which didn't exist before. Then American EU agree raise radiation levels for foods. They're just going to raise it to fix the problem. India bans import of Japanese food. Fukushima dumping of radioactive water into Pacific violates international law. Japan focuses on hydrogen buildup after nuclear leak, and they inject nitrogen into reactor 1. Then we have Lady Gaga donates proceeds from country song to anti-bullying charity. Then internet bullies could face jail and overhaul of stalking laws. This is all about freezing free speech there, guys. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you, everyone, for joining me.